Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Velayat News. I'm Abroo Sabzwari. A look at the headlines for today. Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan says protests will be over in 24 hours. Ex-CIA employee Snowden says he will fight any extradition from Hong Kong. Western officials will meet the commander of the Syrian rebels to discuss new aid. Militants massacre 60 Shia Muslims in eastern Syria. Shia Muslim delegation attends Tablighi Ijtima in Gilgit, Pakistan. San Francisco International Airport makes special wudu and prayer accommodations for Muslim taxi drivers. And now the news in detail. Turkish Prime Minister says protests at Taksim Square and Gezi Park will be over in 24 hours. This comes hours after Tayyip Erdogan met a group of activists in an attempt to start dialogue and vowed to put an end to the gatherings. Mr. Erdogan stated that he had given orders to the Interior Minister and that the protests will be over in 24 hours. Erdogan said the protests were hurting Turkey's image and economy. Turkey's ruling Justice and Development Party's deputy chairman Hossein Salik has said a referendum might be held to decide whether to build the replicas of Ottoman-era barracks in Gezi Park or leave it as it is. Earlier on Wednesday, the Turkish Prime Minister spoke to a group of 11 people as part of the government's attempt to listen to the demands of the demonstrators. The participants included artists, academics, and students, as well as the Interior Minister, Environment and Urban Minister, Tourism and Culture Minister, and the Vice Chair of the ruling Justice and Development Party AKP. As the PM spoke, another group of protesters prepared to assemble on Taksim Square just a day after thousands of like-minded people were driven back in a night of violence. In the 12 days of anti-government anger, 3 protesters and 1 policeman have lost their lives, prompting Turkey's Human Rights Foundation to open an investigation into excessive use of force by the police. The number of injured stands above 5,000. Ex-CIA staffer whistleblower Edward Snowden has revealed fresh details of U.S. surveillance to a Chinese newspaper. He has vowed to fight any extradition attempt from Hong Kong. Snowden spoke from the secret location as his whereabouts still remain unknown. The interview to the South China Morning Post is the first time whistleblower Edward Snowden has spoken to the press since disclosing his identity behind the highly sensitive leaks revealing details of the U.S.'s NSA spy program. The revelations generated headlines across the globe, prompting both praise and condemnation. Snowden says he is neither a traitor nor a hero, he is an American. The whistleblower also said that the U.S. has hacked computers in Hong Kong and mainland China since 2009. Snowden estimated that the NSA has conducted approximately 61,000 cyber attacks with targets spanning the globe. The Hong Kong news outlet did not disclose how that number was formulated. Snowden confessed to leaking classified information from Hong Kong, to which he fled on May 20th from Hawaii. A former technical assistant for the Central Intelligence Agency, Snowden's last occupation was as a defense contractor at Booz Allen Hamilton. He earlier said he chose Hong Kong because this city has a spirited commitment to free speech and the right of political dissent. According to witnesses, Snowden was last seen Tuesday while checking out of a Hong Kong hotel. However, his current location remains unknown. The Justice Department officials have reportedly begun the process of charging Edward Snowden with leaking classified National Security Agency documents, but no extradition request has yet been filed. Snowden has vowed to fight any extradition attempt by the U.S. government. He also stated that his intention is to ask the courts and people of Hong Kong to decide his fate, adding that he has been given no reason to doubt their system. Western officials have decided to meet the commander of the Syrian rebels fighting against President Bashar al-Assad to discuss new aid, signaling a new bid to help mainstream rebels and counter the strength of sectarian militias. Underscoring the West's fear of an uncontrolled sectarian bloodbath, activists said Sunni insurgent militiamen had killed some 60 Shias in a town in the east of Syria. Western countries have shown more determination in recent weeks to play an active role in Syria's civil war after largely sitting on the sidelines while calling for Assad's downfall during the 2 years of fighting, in which 80,000 people were killed. The situation on the ground has changed dramatically in recent weeks, with Assad winning the open support of hardened fighters from Hezbollah, the Shia militia from neighboring Lebanon. Meanwhile, the West has been alarmed by the rise of groups like the Al-Nusra Front, which has pledged loyalty to Al-Qaeda among the mainly Sunni rebels. France and Britain want to counter the influence of sectarians on both sides by providing more support to moderate rebels to help end the war and bring down Assad. On Wednesday, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said Washington was discussing new actions it could take to aid the rebels, although it was not yet ready to make any announcements. In a news conference with British Foreign Secretary William Hague, Mr. Kerry said, "We are determined to do everything that we can in order to help the opposition and save Syria." As many as 60 Shia Muslim residents of a Syrian village in the east of the country have been massacred by foreign-sponsored militants. On Tuesday, the militants attacked the village of Hatla in the eastern Deir ez-Zor province and took control of it, killing 60 Shia residents. Nearly a dozen militants were also killed as a group of local residents took up arms to defend their village. The insurgent attack and the subsequent violence forced the residents of the village to flee their homes. The Syria crisis began in March 2011, and many people, including a large number of government forces, have been killed. Damascus says the chaos is being orchestrated from outside the country, and there are reports that a very large number of the militants are foreign nationals. The Syrian government says the West and its regional allies, such as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, are supporting the militants. Shia cleric Agha Rahat Hosseini and 200 of his supporters set an unforeseen precedent for religious tolerance as they attended a Deobandi scholars lecture in a Sunni congregation. The Tablighi Ijtima, which started on June 9th in Gilgit, was attended by hundreds of thousands of people from across the country, held under the banner of the Sunni organization Tablighi Jamaat. The sermon was delivered by Deobandi preacher Maulana Tariq Jamil Hosseini. He was also accompanied by the General Secretary of Majlis-e-Wahdatul Muslimin. The invitation to attend the Ijtima had been extended by Maulana Jamil after he addressed a congregation at the Central Imamia Mosque on the request of Shia clerics. The initiative to promote peace in a region clearly divided along bloody sectarian lines is being widely appreciated by all and is termed as a breakthrough to promote tolerance. Earlier in the sermon at the Central Imamia Mosque on Monday, Maulana Jamil asked people to shun sectarian hatred, pointing out Islam does not allow the killing of each other over religious differences. Making it easier for hundreds of Muslim taxi drivers to perform their religious duties, the San Francisco International Airport has specified a special place for wudu and prayers. Ahmed Al-Ghazali, a Muslim taxi driver from Yemen, told San Francisco Chronicle that "We are very happy. Airport authorities have decided to allocate a place in the garage for Muslim taxi drivers to perform their prayers." The move came in response to a request by Royal cab driver Hassan Khan, a Pakistani immigrant, to specify a room for Muslim prayers in the airport. In response to the request, airport authorities have decided to install wash equipment on the ground floor of the main garage to help Muslim taxi drivers to perform wudu for their prayers. Next to the wash equipment, an area has been specified where the drivers can congregate for their prayers. State and federal laws require employers to accommodate the religious practices of workers unless they unduly burden the company. Airport authorities say they are keen on maintaining good relations with Muslim service providers. Doug Yackel, an airport spokesman, said that their view was that this was in the interest of maintaining a good relationship with ground transportation providers. The spokesman described the costs of the prayer room as nominal, with the work done by in-house plumbers. This move, however, has drawn fire from right-wingers on claims of using tax money to support Muslims, as stated in an article published by the Washington Times on June 10th, which was titled "On Taxpayers' Tab, Muslim Prayer Room, Foot Baths at San Fran International Airport." The U.S. is home to approximately 7 to 8 million Muslims. Since the 9/11 attacks on the United States, many Muslims have complained of facing discrimination and stereotypes in the society because of their Islamic attires or identities. A survey by the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life last month found that American Muslims are the most moderate around the world. It also showed that U.S. Muslims generally express strong commitment to their faith and tend not to see an inherent conflict between being devout and living in a modern society. An earlier Gallup poll also found that the majority of American Muslims are loyal to their country and optimistic about their future in the United States. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin today. Many thanks for joining us on Velayat News. If you'd like to share your community's news or special events, you can email us at news@VelayatTV.org. You can also get the latest headlines and more by logging on to our website, VelayatTV.org, or follow us on our YouTube and Facebook pages, Velayat TV USA. Till next time, I'm Abroo Sabzwari.